In today's video, I'm gonna react on a video because somebody had a training and this training changed his life completely. I'm gonna react on that.
One of the first real jobs that I ever had was doing door-to-door sales. The pay was strictly commission, so it was entirely possible to spend 60 hours working in a week just to make a grand total of nothing, not a dime. Now, luckily for
That's bad. If you have to work so hard and you don't make any money.
me, the training that they provided was rather exceptional, and one particular concept has continued to stay with me till this very day. A concept so powerful that it has brought me massive success in all areas of my life. The law
You've got my attention. Nice.
of averages. Now, to understand this law and what it has to do with you, let me paint a picture of what exactly my job entitled. I sold telecommunication services. Think TV, internet, and home phone. I would spend the majority of my day knocking on doors looking for potential buyers. There were three categories of people that I would meet throughout the day. The first was the most common. They were the hard-nosed customers. They loved their current provider. They had no issues with them and they did not want to hear your pitch. They were the same ones to chase you off their porch with their surprisingly large collection of pit bulls. True story, by the way. Now, only the best of the best salesmen could get them to buy. And even then, the rate of success would be extremely low. These guys
I feel sorry for the guy. The hard-nosed customer. I never heard that expression. I'm gonna use that one. I like that. Lost current service provider, does not want to hear your pitch, love chasing away salesman, extremely common. Hey, seems like a normal regular sales day, isn't it?
guys made up about 80% of all consumers. Next up were the medium difficulty consumer. They were much less common than the hard consumers, and they made up about 10% of the consumer base. They were indifferent about their provider. They didn't love them. At the same time, they didn't really hate them either. There would always be one or two things that they wish could be improved upon, but for the most part, they weren't really looking to buy. However, they were willing to listen. The best of salesmen could close a decent amount of these guys, while the moderately good salesman could also grab a couple. But if you were new to the game, you'd have a pretty hard time making the sale. And finally, there were the easy consumers. They were extremely rare, but they were straight out buyers. They were already having issues with their providers.
We internally call them already fried chicken that come into your mouth just like this. They're very rare.
And were considering on changing but never really got around to it. If you as a salesperson were to find these people, no matter how
What we always try to explain, with the emphasis on try, because not everybody gets it, unfortunately. There's a big difference between creating a need and fulfilling a need. And then fulfilling a need is basically the easy customer, the easy consumer or customer. And what do I mean with a customer that's looking to fulfill a certain need? They're already aware of the fact that they have pain. They already looked into solutions that probably will solve their pain. And the only thing that they're doing right now is looking for a company that can provide them the solution. However, if you have to create a need, it's a completely different ballgame. First, you need to understand the context of the client. You need to understand what's going on. You have to identify the pain. You also need to identify pain on different levels. It can be complicated depending a little bit on the product or services that you sell.
bad of a salesperson you were, you basically had a sale. All you had to do was not screw up the paperwork. And the chances of finding these was about
I can be nasty sometimes. So sometimes I say, okay, do you have to deal because of you or despite of you? Give it a thought.
1 in 100. Now, the law of averages states that the likelihood of certain events evens out if the frequency is increased, which meant that if I spent an entire day bumping into only hard-nosed consumers, I was not to get discouraged, because if I kept on knocking, I would eventually bump into an easy consumer, and this was very often did not the case. There's even
That is so true. Believe it or not, in 1993, I can imagine that some of you were not even born back then. I was starting selling copying machines. And the first lesson I received was all about the more no's, the closer you will get to a yes. So it's a good thing if clients or prospects say to you, no, I'm not interested, because then you collect the no's and before you know, you get to a yes. It's inevitable. Love it.
one particular day which I remember extremely vividly. I had just finished training and I was finally out on the field on my own. I was in this humongous apartment complex with about 15 floors and over 300 doors. I spent 10 hours that day knocking on doors, getting yelled at left and right. In my head, I was thinking, law of averages my ass. It's all about the territory and the price of the product and the weather outside. You know what? I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna finish knocking on all the doors and I'm gonna show them that the law of averages is a hoax. And when I got to the very bottom of this 15-floor complex, the last 3 doors, guess what? Were all easy customers back to back. They were practically begging to be switched over. I remember going home that day baffled by the power of the law of averages, and over the years working there, it only became more and more ingrained into my mindset. Now, what does the law of averages have to do with you? You don't do sales. Well, no matter what your goal is, you're gonna bump into a large majority of hard rejections. A couple of indifferent rejections, ones that if you're skilled enough, you can win over. And once in a blue moon, you're gonna bump into some opportunities that are literally just waiting for you to show up at their doorsteps. Whether it be in regards to your dating life, getting a job.
I'm not an expert in dating. I'm 52 years old and I'm happily married. But even then, it's just continue. Just collect the no's and before you know, you will get to a yes. We haven't seen the end of the video yet, so I have to hold my horses a little bit. But I love this video so much already. It's really the first time I saw it, but I immediately get it. You know why? The thing is, sometimes you need to be persistent. You have to keep on, just give it a go. And a lot of people, but especially in sales, because that's our field of expertise, of course, they really want a lead that is already when they receive leads, they already want it to be a customer that is an easy customer, that already knows what they want, and the only thing they need to do is make a proposal and then get the deal. That's not how sales works. I think that's also not how life works.
Or even getting recognition for your creative work, the large majority of people are going to reject you. What you have to keep in mind is, the more times you take action, the more times you get rejected, the closer you are to finding those who are excited to actually work with you. So if you want a girlfriend, you gotta go out there and approach more women. If you want to get a decent job, all you have to do is apply to more places. And if you want to get recognized for whatever creative expression that you tinker in, all you gotta do is keep on creating. Now don't worry if you bump into a wall of rejections early on, because that's how the game works. You're supposed to get rejected. Life is all a numbers game, and the odds...
It sounds strange, but it's really true. Because if you get rejected and you have a little bit of self-reflection, it's an important one. Because you get rejected, you constantly think, how can I improve? What can I do different next time?
Are never going to be in your favor. But if you keep playing, you're going to win. And that, my friend, is the law of averages.
The law of average. Love it. You like this content? Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.